लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्ण प्रज्वलितो ज्ञानमयः प्रदीपः। ॐ गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ध्यानमूलं गुरुर्मूर्तिः पूजामूलं गुरोः पदम् मन्त्रमूलं गुरुर्वाक्यं मोक्षमूलं गुरोः कृपा। ॐ कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। सद्गुरु भगवान की जय, सच्चिदानंद भगवान की जय, कृष्ण भगवान की जय, गीता माता की जय। We are discussing Srimad Bhagavad Gita, 5th chapter, and yesterday we were discussing on the 16th and 17th slokas. 16 is jnanena tu tadajnanam yesam nasitam atmanah tesam adityavat jnanam prakasayati tatparam. But to those whose ignorance is destroyed by the knowledge of the self, like the sun, knowledge reveals the Supreme Brahman. He gives the example of the light of the sun, as it is impartial to distribute its lights to each and every one without any partiality. He has equal vision everywhere. He is kind to everyone to enjoy his light. So also one whose ignorance is destroyed by the sun, the effulgence of the knowledge, the Supreme reveals to him. And that also means he is able to have the equal vision and all-round vision, and he will be same to one or many. He will not have any partiality in his behavior or in his vision. No, by no means he can be partial. So the next sloka also gives the condition of an ignorant person. This is the condition of man of knowledge. He is equal to everyone. He has equal vision. And what happens to the ignorant persons? Tad buddhyas tadatmanam stanishthas tatparayana. No, here he says, Again, what happens to such a realized soul after having union with the Absolute? Gacchantya punaravrittim jnana nirdhuta kalmasaha. Their intellect observed in that means in that supreme knowledge or self, their self being that, established in that, with that for their supreme goal, they go to when there is no return, their sins dispelled by knowledge, because jnana nirdhuta kalmasaha. All the sins are destroyed into ashes by the fire of knowledge. So they are spotless and taintless. Purity means there will be no sins, means there will be no changes. That also means that is the absolute constancy, which will have equanimity in all sense, in all directions. That is called the attainment, the state of attainment of the knowledge. That is the state. So that is what is achieved by the man of knowledge, self-realized soul. So, attaining that, this person never comes back to the state of mind or relativity or your so-called world, where everything returns again and again, goes on in cycle, birth and death, eternal cycle. Nobody can get out of it. By chance, by the grace of either God or Guru or scriptures or his own self, if by chance he gets out of it, then he is released forever, not to come back to the cycle. Once the arrow is discharged, it will not come back to you. So he says, their intellect observed in that, he has lost his identity, as it were. Such a person has no different identity other than the absolute truth. Just as how it becomes one with it, just as some poets give some beautiful examples. How does a morning star disappear when there is daylight? Where does it go? Can you find any trace of it? And how does the lightning disappears in the black clouds in the sky after flashing for a moment? Where does it go? Or the waves disappear in the ocean. How do they disappear? Can you find out the same wave again? Similarly, the soul, individual, disappears in the absolute, leaving out no trace of it, and not to return again. Jadgatva na nivartante. Gacchantya punaravritim. Apunaravritim means there is no return from that state. So many examples. When a spark of the light becomes one with the fire or light, can you trace out it again? Many examples. One disappears in the ultimate. They fix their intellects on Brahman or the Supreme Self. They feel and realize that Brahman is their self. By constant and protracted meditation, they get established in Brahman. Continuous meditation, that means it is no more can be called meditation. It disappears in samadhi, and that will be sabikalpa or one thought. And then afterwards the same will be transferred into nirvikalpa, no thought will be there. Automatically that will disappear. Just as you put a little salt in the ocean, what happens to it? For a few seconds it will keep up its identity in the ocean water. And then, can you find him out? Similarly, for some time, this sabikalpa remains as sabikalpa, then it becomes nirvikalpa. Then nirvikalpa also disappears, and there comes a state which cannot be defined. And still then, that also depends and intensifies, and the identity is lost forever, not to come back. From savikalpa samadhi or nirvikalpa samadhi, there is chance of coming back. But after that, there is no chance. No chance of coming back. So be careful to enter into that zone. So he says, the whole world of names and forms vanishes for them. No more world. They live in Brahman alone. They have Brahman alone as their supreme goal or soul refuge. Goal or soul. The center forward takes the football, carrying out, dealing from all the opponents, and by that force it enters to the goal post with the ball. And there it falls down. And the cricket ball is beyond the periphery of the stadium, not to be found out. Gone forever. The new ball is brought. This is what happens to the soul. They are contented in the self alone. Such men never come back to this samsara, as their sins are dispelled by knowledge of Brahman by Brahma Gyan. How do you know the scene? Has it to be thrown out? Why? If there is merit, then demerit will be there. This is relative world. Everything will have its opposite. Can the government run without the opposition?
Actually, yes.
Can you have a front without the back? So how it will be possible? Sin will be there if some dharma is there. Meritorious deed you have done, that means there is little demerits hidden in it. So how it is possible to go beyond both? That we have discussed so many times. It is beyond the horizon of events, neither good nor bad. It is the neutral zone where you can have spacewalk. Neither you will be pulled up, nor you will be pulled down. Neutral zone. Can we not have spacewalk there? You can put the table there in the sky without support, and you can eat and drink and make merry without anything. Neither you will fall down, nor you will pushed back up. So this is how that neutral zone, where nothing is dual, there is no relativity beyond all, beyond the horizon of events, neither good nor bad. So you have to destroy all your sins, means there should not be any sense of dharma also. Be careful. If you want to renounce your hope of enjoying the heavenly pleasure, then only you can go beyond. Can you? Because of little happiness, we invite all the unhappiness, all the displeasures. We don't know, we are not aware of the result of it. After the day, what happens? Does the day come again? Yesterday we were discussing about that night, 7 nights becomes one. So there will not be any world there. World means pairs of opposites, positive, negative, up and down, here and there, good and bad. Everything will be opposite, pairs. That is called relative, and that is called world. दो से दुनिया, एक से वही जिसको हम कुछ नहीं बोल सकते हैं. So in this way, whether you have to destroy your sins or your merits, that is same. You have to go beyond both. Another logic we shall discuss, very interesting logic. See, you want to print this book. Can you print it? No. How no?
The book is already printed.
No, that is of course, from your point of view, you are somewhat correct. But logic says, unless you know it perfectly well, can you create it? You have to know what are you going to create. It is already created or it is not there, it is there, whatever it may be. You want to create something new.
Yes.
So how can you create it? Suppose a potter wants to make some pot. Does he know the pot or not before creating it?
Yes, he knows.
Without knowing, can he make it?
No.
That is what I am telling. If you want to do something new, to create something new, you must know what are you going to create. Isn't it?
Yes.
Do you agree?
That knowledge.
You must have knowledge of it. What knowledge you have? You have just partial knowledge of it. We have discussed the informative knowledge. Our senses go to the object what you want to know, and it gets a contact for a moment, and whatever information it gets, it comes back to you, means your mind, your subtle mind, that means chitta, the subconscious mind, and it puts the information there, and again it goes for another contact. Just as the honey bees bring little honey in their mouth from distant flowers, and they come to their cells and they deposit it there. Again they have to go for collecting some more. Same thing is seen with the sense and mind's actions. Mind will prompt it, the sense will be active, and it will go to its respective object. Eyes will go to see the form, ears will go to hear the sound, this way, and mind is prompter and helper and supporter behind, orderer, everything, or else senses are unable to do anything. And the sense gets contact with the particular object for a moment outwardly. It has got no time to get the full knowledge, because mind is fleeting. This object also changes. The senses are also restless. Nothing is steady. So I give always the example of the travel in a road. You are traveling in a high speed in a car. Can you read what is written in the side signboard or in the milestone? Unless you get steadiness, you have to come, step down, stand quietly, then you can read it and know it. To know that you have to have steadiness, isn't it? So also, to get the full knowledge of the object, you have to be, means your mind or senses, they have to be fixed on the object till they get completely oneness with the object. Then only they can get the full knowledge of it. Okay, till now Everything is clear, be careful. And when it gets oneness with the object, what happens to the subject? It loses its identity. There is no subject at all. So who will create the new? Understood the logic? No.
I become new.
You become the object.
Correct.
So there is no need, you cannot make another new object. You are one with the object, then only you can have full knowledge. Or else you cannot make it without knowing the full knowledge. And full knowledge, experiential knowledge means having oneness with the object. So once you have become 100% one with the object, you are gone forever. Who will create the new one? Got the logic?
सुबह वाला एग्जांपल की तरह हो गया, मैं यहाँ हूँ कि वहाँ हूँ.
These are their voices. Guruji, I can prove I am not here. So Guruji said, how is it? Prove it. Suppose I am absent in Bombay. What do you mean by it?
Am I in Bombay now?
Yes, am I in Bombay now? No, you are not at Bombay. Agreed? Yes, agreed. So I am somewhere else, not at Bombay. That means I am somewhere else. So if I am somewhere else, how can I be here? How can I be here present? Understood now? This is how, of course, sometimes the logic goes beyond the limit. So it is a common saying, faith can enable you to reach the goal, not the logic. Logic will help you up to some extent. Don't apply your logical, argumentative intellect to know the truth. Never. You should not do this.
Logically and analytically and 360 degree, this language should be then banned.
Yes.
Removed from the dictionary.
So you have to print a new dictionary. 22nd year's new dictionary. That will be changed in 23rd. Never mind. Not century dictionary. It is annual dictionary. For the time being, you can stop printing it. Okay? So this is, of course, this is how the Tark says, this creation is impossible because absolutely there was one only. From one only the two or many can arise. There cannot be two first and then one. Can it be? Can it be? No? Shall I prove it? It can be. Logic. Have you come from two or one? You are one or two?
Many.
है कि नहीं सरदार जी? One has come out of two only. नहीं सरदार जी ने ऐसे बोलता है ना?
How it can be only two, Swamiji? That two has come from other two, four multiplying going on. How we can consider?
अच्छा. So one can be derived from many. one is not fast, isn't it? But philosophy says one must be fast, and then only two is possible. First of all, there was one, and it was divided into two. जब पोटैटो काट करके सब्जी बनाते हो, इतना बड़ा पोटैटो, उसको सब्जी बना सकते हैं क्या? Can you make? वो छोटा था, बड़ा नहीं था, इतना बड़ा नहीं था. चलो आलू नहीं, जिमी कंद. हमारा कटहल, jackfruit. Can you make it sabji? Whole thing at a time. So one is fast, then comes two. Anyway, this logic is applicable to up to some limit, not absolutely. It is for amusement I gave you the logic. Don't apply it everywhere. Sometimes we have to apply it. So he says, tad buddhyas tadatvanas tad nishthas tat parayanaha gacchante punaravrittim jnana nirdhuta kalmasa. We have to destroy our sin to its last root, means also we have to destroy the merits and demerits, everything. Intellect observed in the Absolute, their self being that, united with that, established in that, with that for their supreme goal, they go to whence there is no return. Their sins dispelled by knowledge. They fix their intellects on Brahman, on the Supreme Self. They feel and realize that Brahman is their self, means 100% oneness. By constant and protracted meditation, they get established in Brahman. The whole world of names and forms vanishes for them. Then the question comes, if there is no name, there is no form, there is no world. And when there is no world, the moment you realize this self, does it mean the world has to vanish? And thereby another question also is there, waiting for coming out. If I realize the self, so all of you must realize. Isn't it? That is how Ramji asked the question to Basitji in Yoga Vasit class. Isn't it? When the prana gets out of the body after death, so prana is gone, means it is absent, it is destroyed. So one who dies, he must realize the self, he must be one with the Absolute. That is not so, not so. And that we have discussed in the class. And here, the point is, when you are one with the Absolute, what happens to the other? He says all the names are and forms are destroyed forever.
Yes.
What does it mean? So,
You become everything.
you become everything. But what happens to everything?
As it is there, Swami.
It will be there.
But there is no duality, hence you don't perceive it.
You don't perceive it. That is something else. If you don't see the sun, can you say sun is not there?
Obviously not there. For me,
Huh?
for me it's
For
not there.
you, sun is not there.
Yes.
This is how we have to understand in everything. When you close your eyes, sun is not there.
No, I have to close it totally. Not only mind and intellect and
Existence
everything.
only should be not there.
Pardon?
Because existence is because the
So you enter to a dark room, sun will not be there. Your mind, your body, everything will be absent from the presence of the sun.
But the dark room is also present because of the sun only.
Acha?
Because the
So you cannot get out. So sun is ever present, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
So also the case with every object. Then what do you understand from that? Yes?
So from relative point of view, what about the idea of the world?
Yes.
So even
That is the question we are putting now. We have not come to the answer. First understand the question, then we shall come to the answer. The question is, when I realize the self, I have lost my identity. I have no identity at all. I am totally 100% one with the Absolute. A bubble has burst. What happens to it then?
Into ocean.
It becomes one with the ocean. The bubble has become one with the ocean. What happens to the other bubbles?
So who is asking this question?
Why
The
we
bubble or
should,
the
why
ocean?
once the realization taken place, and why to think the other side?
Answer the same thing.
Wait, who is there? Is the self
Who is
or
asking the
the
question?
bubble or the ocean?
No, not the bubble, not the ocean, but the remaining bubbles.
Asking.
For whom?
Remaining bubbles are asking.
Bubbles for whom?
Huh?
for their
Bubbles
future.
for whom?
For
They are asking question about to the ocean about themselves.
Who is the remaining
Then they have to again realize themselves only.
Pardon?
They have to realize themselves.
No. The question is, are we surviving or we are gone? Because one is gone,
They are surviving, Swami.
they will survive.
They are surviving.
bubble is only not there, how they are surviving?
No, no. As far as bubbles are taken for granted, their existence is agreed. So if one disappears, what happens to the other?
They exist, Swami. They exist.
वो बुदबुदे बनाते जाएंगे बबल है ना, वो बुदबुदे बनाते जाएंगे, फिर महासागर में एक एक मिलते जाएगा तो हमारे को क्या हर एक तो आ रहा है बोल के बोले
कोई पूछा स्वामी जी रमन महर्षि को, how can you say it is all one when I see so many millions? Like say bubble is asking.
Yes.
How you see? How do you say it is one only? I see millions and millions.
Hmm.
वही वो बोला. You identify yourself with the body, then there are millions. When you are spirit, all is spirit alone.
Actually speaking, the question is for the ignorant persons.
सवाल ही गलत है.
Ignorant persons can ask this question. That's why I answered when you asked who is questioning. The bubbles are questioning, the surviving bubbles are questioning it. To whom? To the ocean? What is about us? So there is no reply. You have to find reply by yourself and reply, question is yours. It is your problem. It is your problem.
एक एक मिलते जाएगा और एक आते जाएगा,
Pardon?
एक एक मिलते जाएगा और एक आते जाएगा.
So innumerable questions. So it is your problem, it is not my problem. Mind your business. सानू की दुनिया जाए खड्डे में, मेरा क्या, सानू की. तो ये जो लॉजिक और ये जो सवाल उठता है, ये सब बेसलेस. Such questions should not be asked. Such logic should not be applied. We have somehow or other, we are talking in the relative world. We are in the darkness. We are standing in the darkness. We don't know what is light. Then only the question comes, how is the light?
The same question pucha koi, if I realize, what about others?
Yes, that is what I am telling.
First realize and then see if the question.
Then see what happens. And this question we have answered in the Yoga Varsity class by the story, analyzing the story of Jivat. One became 100 and the one realized the soul, then what happens to the others?
All became
The same question indirectly we have discussed in Yoga Varsity class. Anyhow, going to the next. So such a person will have an equal vision. Samatvam yoga uchyate. The equanimity is known as yoga. Yoga actually literally yoga means union. That's all. Literally this much. Joining, uniting, and the union.
Bola yoga means union. Find out for whom is viyoga. That is yoga.
Yes.
Swamiji, one more year, if yoga is uniting, means there is still two in yoga.
Yes, yoga starts with two, ends in one. Bhakti also is like that. Jnana also is like that. Everything starts with two only. When two are there, then only the questions. And when the answer is there, there is no question. So, that is one. When question is there, there is two. The question maker and the answer giver and the process triad. Triad, three. The karta, the kriya and the karma. The doer, done object and the doing process. So triad is the world and we are in the world, then only all these discussions or ignorance and knowledge or relativity or all these questions and answers, everything is possible only in relative world. So it starts from here and ends in the absolute silence. That is the supreme truth. So this way there should not be confusion who is asking the question and who is going to answer it. The duality is putting the question and monoism gives the answer that I am. That's all. That is the question answer. Two ends in one. And that process is called yoga. Yoga has got different many meanings, but the literal meaning is union between the two. If two is there, then only union is sin. If one is there, where is the question of union? So yoga starts with two, ends in one. What does a breeze do? It starts from one end and ends in the other end, where the eternal end is there. This is how yoga does its work. Now, it should have equal vision. The oneness pervades. There cannot be two. Then this is very critical state to understand what happens, how does a realized soul looks, and how does he see everything, how does it looks for others, and how does he sees others, and how he should behave in a relative world. How does he behave? How should he behave? What is his method of behavior? Because action is possible only in dualism. Action means relativity. One changes into the other. That is called change and action. Steadiness is not action. Change is called action. So change means dualism. And that is, there only we can see the process of functioning and everything. So if at all he behaves, how should he, how does he behave in a relative world? That means how a man of equal vision who has attained that equanimity, samatvam, how does he behave? Of course, little we have seen in the second chapter when Arjuna asked to Lord Krishna, when he was going on praising the state, the highest state, Arjuna, one should be like this, you should have this idealism, you should behave like this. Then Arjuna asked, naturally he has to ask the question, how does he behave? Such a person, how he should behave? What are the indications we can judge such a person? From his behavior only.
Realize soul how he behaves.
Yes, sthita prajnasya ka bhasa. So, up to some extent, Lord Krishna has explained it. Now, every now and then, he gives some hints on it.
Swamiji, does the realized person finish his class on time or?
Yes, time is up to 9:30. The limit is extended. And the explanator and the audience also, they do not belong to that highest class. दो गधा गोपाल नंदन. Somebody asked from the audience to Chinmayananda Swamiji. Swamiji, he was explaining Gita. And Gita Mahatma in the beginning. Parthavascha Sudhir Bhukta Dugdha Gopalanandana. So that person says, Guruji, I understand Partha Bhukta, पार्थ वत्स सुधीर भोक्ता दोग्धा गोपाल नंदन. दो गधा, I don't understand two gadhas, where from they have come. Somehow or other, Srinivasji controlled his laughter and he wittily said, you don't see, one is I and the other are you. Like this, two gadhas, do gadhas. So, the explanator and the audience, both are gadhas. Because the wise never expresses anything, nor the wise hears anything. Everything is among the ignorant persons also. Only. So next we come to the 18th sloka, which gives this indications of such a person. How does he see with equal vision? What is called equal vision? Then how should he behave? If the vision is equal, so will the behavior will be same with everyone? That is what he tries to explain. Vidya vinay sampanne brahmane gavi hastini suni jayava swapake cha panditaha samadarsinaha. Pandit means the same wise man. Panda asti iti panditaha. Panda means this purified, sattvic, subtle, unpointed intellect. That is called panda. Pragya, dhi, buddhi, vigyan, ityadi, all these are the name of that state of the final, supremely sharp and subtle and pure intellect, which is very near, just on the borderline of this side and that side, where the one borderline is divider. That side is the absolute silence, this side is absolute knowledge. And knowledge is mental state, silence is the silence beyond the chitta and mind, everything. So in that state is called pragya, dharana, dhiti. It is named like that. So Pandit also, Panda also, the name of that state. Panditaha samadarsina. That means realized souls. Vidya vinaya sampanne brahmane gavihastini suni chaiva swapake cha panditaha samadarsina. So, how does a man of equal vision behave? He behaves equally with everyone. He sees equally everyone. Here the literal meaning is not behaves. He sees equal vision, not equal behavior. Be careful to understand the particular word and word meaning. Sages look within an equal eye. No. Sages look in equal eye. In an equal eye on a Brahmana endowed with learning and humility, on a cow, on an elephant, and even on a dog, and an outcast, Chandal outcast, the lowest caste. Chandal can do anything. He has got no rules, no regulations. The ignorants have no rules and regulations, and the highest knowledgeable, wise person also, they are beyond rules and regulations. Rules and regulations are only for the mediocres. समर्थ को नहीं दोष गोसाई, असमर्थ को नहीं दोष गोसाई. The children, the sick persons, or the enable persons, they are not under the laws. They are beyond the laws. And the wise, of course, the highest one, is beyond all these rules. No rules are applicable on president, and nor for the children, nor for the patients, because they are enabled and he is able. Both way laws are not applicable. Laws are only for the mediocres. Sages look with an equal eye on a Brahmana endowed with learning and humility, on a cow, on an elephant, and even on a dog and an outcast. He has got equal vision. So I think we shall discuss it tomorrow in detail. What is called equal vision? Is it equal behavior? One should be very, very clear on it. Just for contemplation, for homework. The liberated sage or Jivanmukta or a Brahmana has equal vision. As he beholds the self only everywhere. This magnificent vision of a jnani is beyond description. Atman or Brahman is not at all affected by the upadhis or limiting adjuncts, as he is extremely subtle, pure, formless, and attributeless. The sun's reflection falls on the river Ganga, on the ocean, or on a dirty stream. The sun is not at all affected in any way. This makes no difference to the sun. So is the case with the Supreme Self. The upadhis, limiting adjuncts, cannot affect him, just as the ether is not affected by the lightning adjuncts, limiting adjuncts, that is a pot, the walls of a room, cloud, etc. So also the self is not affected by the upadhis, means names and forms. The Brahmana is sattvic, the cow is rajasic, the elephant, the dog, and the outcast are tamasic. The sage sees in all of them the one homogeneous immortal self who is not affected by the three gunas and their tendencies. So tomorrow we shall see it in detail. हरि ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। सद्गुरु भगवान की जय। सच्चिदानंद भगवान की जय। कृष्ण भगवान की जय। गीता माता की जय। हरि ओम।